Welcome to the Business Spotlight Podcast. My name is Kay Cote, and I'm your host for today's episode. And today on the show, I have Brett Hanrahan, President of Flight Director, as my guest. We're going to be learning about his business, his journey through business, best practices he's learned, and challenges that he's faced to give you that inside look to what it's like to build and operate a business. Welcome, Brett. It's so great to meet you. Thanks for being on the show.
Nice to meet you as well. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, before we dive into all things business, I would love to share a bit about you, your backstory. So, take us back as far as you want and give a little bit about yourself.
So I grew up in Newport Beach, California. Very privileged. Went to Mater Dei High School in Orange County. From there, I went to Loyola Marymount University, and I was around Orange County, LA for a couple years before I moved out to Austin. By that time, I was already working at the family business. And then when I came to Austin, I was a new salesperson for the family business. And I've been working at the company ever since. I've been at the company for about 10 or 11 years, and I've been running the business since the start of the pandemic.
Wow, congratulations. So that's a family business. How long has the business been operating?
So I think the business has been operating since 1984. So my dad started it then. He brought my uncle Don on board, and he was able to build a pretty large and successful business.
That's incredible. That's super cool. So, uh, let's dive into the business. Tell me about it. And has it evolved over the years, or are you still doing the same, like primarily what you were doing when it started or when the company started?
So when I took over the business, we were $200,000 in debt, and it was just me and my sister. We didn't really have any inventory or assets at the time. So the business is in used serviceable material. So that's basically rotables that can be removed from aircraft, sent out to a maintenance repair facility to be recertified. And then once they're recertified, they can then be sold again to airlines for install. So at that time, we were doing quite a lot of brokering, and we had just done our first teardown project in a long time. A teardown is when you purchase an airplane, take off all the components, and then start shipping those to repair shops to get recertified. So we took delivery of the airplane like 6 months before COVID. And then by the time the plane was torn down, shipped to us, and we were ready to sell the parts, COVID happened. At that point in time, it was pretty much impossible to sell almost anything to a commercial or regional airliner since a lot of the planes are parked and they don't have any money coming in. There's really no need to bring in more parts for purchase. So it was a pretty difficult time for the family business. Um, Me and my sister kind of hustled and figured it out. We picked up some military accounts. We actually got saved by the Paycheck Protection Program, not once, but twice. The other thing that saved us was just kind of slowly selling off the teardown assets little by little. And then I mean, we were able to stay alive long enough to see, the COVID recovery. And at that point in time, I started kind of re-picking up a quite a large book of brokering. And then we basically brokered until we could hire a third employee, a fourth employee, a fifth employee. And right now we're at around 8 employees, four salespeople, and then we basically reinvest the money into purchasing material, packages, putting parts into exchange programs, rotable pools. So we've been just kind of reinvesting ourselves and basically just started from the ground.
Wow, that's incredible. Like, especially coming back from the hard time you went through. So that it's powerful.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, a lot of stress. It was kind of used to it, honestly, at the time. The company didn't have wasn't having the best financials the couple of years before that I was there. So, at some point in time, you're just kind of used to living and dying by the sword, as they say, which is just living on your sales, trying to get to the next month nonstop. So, I mean, now we are able to get ahead, but are you ever really ahead when you run and own a business? Even if you have a ton of money and a ton of finances, you're still pushing sales out the door, and you just have different headaches.
Very true. Oh, well, you said you have a team of 8 now. Is there anybody else right now on the ownership side? Or you, because you're the president now, so are you owning the company now, or how does that look for you?
So, I mean, I've been running the business since the pandemic, and we do have like documentation for me to take ownership of the company. But because the company did have some financial difficulties prior, it doesn't make sense from a business perspective for me to take over running the business at this time. I mean, take over owning the business at this time. But I make all the decisions. I manage our cash flow. I do all the hires. I am basically in charge. I do consult my dad quite a bit, but he also trusts everything that I do. So, do I own the business? Technically, no, but I definitely have a grasp and own the business.
Oh, very cool. Thank you for sharing that. And looking at, you mentioned some of the clients that you've worked with. Now where the business is at, who is your ideal client?
So our ideal client now is a regional operator who is looking for some partners to help them with their stock replenishment, asset purchasing, any potential leases that are coming up. So the last couple of years, I've been attending a conference called Meet the Buyers. You have 20-minute meetings over 2 days, and they do a conference in Europe, they do a conference in Asia, as well as a conference in America. And when you have those meetings, you kind of figure out real quick that just doing everything is not going to work long term. So
Mm.
now we're kind of narrowing it down and being a little bit more specific, just kind of saying regional, but then from there, we do have quite a lot of inventory for the ATR product line, and then we have some consignments for Embraer. So I'd say those would be anyone flying those type of fleets would be an ideal customer for us.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Now, how does it how does it look to get an airplane? Or this is a whole new world for me. So how does that work? How are you like targeting clients? Or because are you, well, let's start with this. You're gaining the planes, you're purchasing the planes?
We're right now we're looking for assets for purchase. So the way aviation works is you have a bank, let's just call it Bank of America, and they or some leasing company, they buy a new plane from Boeing or Airbus. They then lease it out to American Airlines for 20, 30 years. So 50% of the world's fleet is leased. After that 20 or 30 years, they may sell that asset to a mid-life lessor, um, or they might sell it straight to a teardown company. So, it's basically called end-of-life assets. And once they're done making their money, they're on to the new thing. They may only deal with brand new airplanes for a 20 to 30 year shelf life. And then after that, sell it to the next person or consign it to the next person. So, I mean, ideally, I'm going to a lot of conferences. I'm trying to meet as many people as possible. You're meeting with a lot of leasing companies, also a lot of airlines direct, just trying to figure out what is for sale or what's coming up for sale. So you're really just building up a quite a large Rolodex and taking a lot of notes so that when these opportunities do arise, you are prepared for them.
Hmm. Definitely. Because ideally, what would you say you like the quantity of aircrafts you would like to be working on at once? Or is it like one at a time, or how does that work?
Right now, we're just looking for our first one since the ATR we parted out since the pandemic. It's you kind of want to bid and hopefully not win too many, 'cause then you think you maybe paid too much. So it's almost like if it's not a steal, it's not a deal. So we're really patient. We're good in trading. There's no need to rush and make a mistake. You know, I've done a good job of getting the company to where it's at right now.
Mhm.
So we have a couple offers out currently, and then we'll always be on the lookout. But if nothing happens this year, then back to trying to hit the ball next year.
Oh, that's really cool. And so now are your employees you currently have, are you guys in an office or are you remote team?
So we're in like a 12,000 square foot facility. Around 10,000 square feet of that is a warehouse. We have a large sales pit and then a couple offices on the side. Um, we have two people in shipping and receiving and quality. So they're checking all the paperwork, getting all the packages in, getting all the packages out. They're also managing repair orders, getting repair pricing for us. So they definitely need to be in office. And then some of our new salespeople, they're in office just so they can get a lot of one-on-one training with me. We can go over their deals every day. Our accountant doesn't know it yet, but I'm gonna start letting him work from home Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays. Right now, I let him just work on Fridays, but I can be a pretty lax boss, so I'm just gonna let him go and work from home. I'm sure he'll get his job done.
Amazing. And speaking of leadership, what would you say your day-to-day looks like? Are you primarily working on the business or in the business or a little bit of both?
So that's kind of been, you know, the question for me the last year is a lot of soul searching. Like, what is the next step? What are we going to do? What am I going to do? Historically, I've done a lot of brokering and helping customers get inventory on like AOG basis. Um, and then I started doing a little part trading. So you're just buying material, trying to help customers out, put on your shelf, hopefully sell it for a little bit more money. And now I'm kind of going towards asset management, outside sales, inside sales, and I'm also the CFO. And I've also, have trained everyone who's in, good management roles today to do their job. So what does day to day look like for me? I usually get to the office at 6 o'clock. I work out with one of our salespeople. From 7 to 9, I'm checking my emails, making sure there's no easy deals there, putting some quotes in the system at that time. Around 8, I'm probably making some phone calls to whoever, my consigner, lessors, stockists, just whatever's on the agenda that day. Around 9 o'clock, we have a 30-minute to 60-minute sales meeting. That's when all the salespeople tell me about all their activity from the day. I mean, activity is from making a phone call, talking to this person, seeing if they have this type of inventory for sale, seeing if this person does this. I mean, aviation's a really large industry, but it's also really small. So the whole reason to get on the phone is to make friends. You just talk to people. So we go over that for about an hour. Around 10, I go back to looking for material to purchase or quoting material out to airlines. And then for an hour. I go suck at golf, hit some golf balls, really hate myself for, a good hour there midday. I look forward to that tomorrow. And then when I get back to the office, trying to just figure out ways to do deals. Maybe a little bit of organizing here and there. So I'm kind of on this trying to figure out exactly what I need to do for the company to bring in sales and revenue. Because I don't think long term I can do inside sales, outside sales, asset management. Some of the other things don't take that long, but I do recognize that I have been very spread thin in the last year or two, and that it's kind of affected my book of business as well.
Yes, the many hats, right? The many hats. So
Many hats, got a whole closet full of them.
I was just saying the same thing a few minutes ago. Um, okay, so you mentioned you're spread very thin. What has that been like? Because like many business owners kind of are struggling with this, and I love this transparent approach to like, hey, we're not alone in this. So, what are some of the areas you feel spread the most thin?
Oh, there's a lot of different sales functions. So like I mentioned, outside sales, traveling, getting customers, bringing them in through the door, getting orders through them. Inside sales is, selling our material to brokers, customers, whoever's coming in for the material that we list. You have asset management, that's managing a Rolodex of people that you meet, going to conferences to meet people, seeking out certain types of people. I think it's best to get a hold of people at conferences, in certain conferences. So I really like the meet the buyers is because I have 20 scheduled meetings with people.
Mm,
It's very difficult to get FaceTime with people. So I like that format a lot. And then there's the day-to-day trading. Traders need to put a lot of quotes in the system. They have to track a lot of parts. They have to, search for off-market inventories. So, ideally, you would maybe only do like one or two or maybe three of these things. But, when you're kind of doing all of them, it's good and bad. If I know if I focus a little bit more on a couple of them, I know I would do significantly better. But historically, I was more bogged down on trying to get our operations down.
mm,
Um, if you don't have good quality and paperwork on the material that you're buying and your receiving processes aren't very good, then you're just kind of hemorrhaging money out the side. So I was able to finally find someone to take that off my plate, like a year ago. So very happy with that. But now it's been, even training salespeople takes a lot of time as well. I haven't even mentioned that. So it's trying to figure out, what's the perfect balance, and then maybe what should I just focus on, that will be the best for my future and the company.
yeah, that's like that really speaks a lot. And I think that's like a golden nugget of this conversation is for other people in this role, to see where to streamline or how to streamline when you're feeling that, like when there's too many hats, like we got to sell some of the hats or hire someone to wear some of the other hats. So I think it's something that you're working on, and that's amazing. So looking at the future of the company, where do you see yourself going in the next 3 years?
Oh, the next 3 years, I see us continuing to just grow our inventory. I'm a big believer if we get the right inventory, the customers will find us. So, like, my main goal is just getting the right inventory in house and then reaching out to the appropriate customer base as well. Also, the slow play of increasing the company Rolodex so we can get assets. So ideally in 3 years, we probably have another 5 salespeople, maybe another warehouse employee, maybe an accountant if our accountant is a little backed up behind. So maybe hopefully we could double the size of the company. If not, go like maybe 2.5 to 3x. I think we've got the nice base to kind of launch from here, honestly, because we've done everything, with our own finances, and we're close to getting financed. So I do think that will help tremendously going forward as well.
Oh, wonderful. Yes. I love the sounds of the expansion and everything that you're working on. Now I want to dive into a fun part of the Q&A, which is our rapid fire Q&A. Uh,
There you go.
yeah, it'll be just feel free to answer very top of mind. It'll be 4 questions.
Can't
Uh,
wait.
all right. Question number one is, what is a key to success for you?
I'd say routine and habits. Um, Recently it's just started waking up at 5:20, getting the gym over with in the morning, and then boom, you're in the office at 7 ready to go every day. And you also start off with a good workout, so it's already a good day no matter what. It means also you probably went to bed early because you know that you're gonna wake up early, or else tomorrow's gonna suck. So I would definitely say good habits.
That's a good one. I like that. Number two is, what is a piece of advice you have for other business owners?
A piece of advice for other business owners. I would say fire people as quickly as possible.
That's
That you want to be nice, just get their ass out the door. Every minute that they're sitting in your organization is just they're hindering your business. And I think that set me back a year or two. And that's like one of the first things that I try to tell people. Also, I think people want to be a nice liberal boss, and I don't think it works out. I hate to say it. Trying to be as liberal as possible. Business is business, and that means you're gonna have to be you know what I mean? Um, when the time comes.
Yeah, sometimes it has to happen. That's true. Number three is, it could be a book, a piece of content, a podcast, just anything you've taken in recently.
Anything I've taken in recently, like for inspiration,
Yeah.
or
Any,
hmm,
any books or podcasts, anything that's just like resonated.
I am not a huge reader or podcast listener. I swear to God. But what resonates with me? I have no idea. Can't answer this one off the top of my head right now.
That is okay. Final question, and feel free to take your time and elaborate on this one. If I would give you a magic wand and you could rapidly improve one aspect of your business, what would it be?
Rapidly improve. Hmm. Um, I would say just ways to evaluate inventory quicker. It is something we are working on and going to pay a lot of money for, but just getting to those decision points quicker just frees you up for more time to do other stuff.
Definitely. That's a good one. Well, thank you for answering the rapid fire questions. Before we get to the final question of the day, how can our listeners and viewers get connected with you and your business online?
I mean, they could send me an email. It's Bravo Romeo Echo Tango Tango at flightdirector.com. I also don't mind answering questions or trying to help anyone get their business off the ground. Business is hard, especially being an entrepreneur is hard. I did also start a successful rave business called Vibe Vessel. So I do have you know, I have successfully built 2 businesses. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's a rave business." That is a legitimate business. We took in order over like $250,000 in a calendar year. It's not easy at all.
We'll have to talk more about that because in another episode because that's cool. Well, thank you for
I
sharing.
thought you were going to be asking about Vibe Vessel, honestly. I saw the EDM. We had like a Hollywood meteoric rise to fame and a Hollywood crash. It's quite the story.
That'll be for another podcast. Yes. We can talk more after we wrap up the episode. But for our final question of today, what is most inspiring to you today?
What's most inspiring to me today? Hmm. I think what inspires me a lot is my dad. He built a big, large, successful business. The business fell on hard times, so I'm just kind of, real competitive and hell bent on getting the business back to a respectable name.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Brett. This has been a great conversation. Thanks for being on the show.
I appreciate all the questions, Kay. Nice meeting you.